I'm Amy Jo Martin. Welcome to the Why Not Now show. You know that thing you've been thinking about doing? Yeah, that one. Why not now? Have you ever actually taken the time to ask yourself, what's stopping me? Let's talk it through. This is your chance to give that idea the attention it deserves and take action. Each episode, I have a chat with a fascinating person, from entrepreneurs to athletes, celebrities, my parents, rocket scientists, and all walks of life. We talk through a critical time when they've asked themselves, why not now? We dissect that day or even that moment, step by step.
Just let go.
We have the ultimate renegade on the show today, Mark Cuban. So many of you know Mark from Shark Tank, or even as the owner of the NBA's Dallas Mavericks. But Mark's ability to navigate business and unpaved paths, and just as an innovator, has been extremely remarkable. I mean, completely unmatched type of journey. He has gone from being a bartender to a billionaire. And we talk through some of those steps, those key leaps that helped get him to where he is now, one of which was getting fired from his first job. So he talks through that. And one of the things that I really appreciate about Mark is just he is as real as it gets. No BS. He's straightforward, but at the same time, he's still kind. So you can be both. This episode is full of advice and tangible tactical tips, tricks, things that you can apply today. He gets into the details and we talk it through. So if by chance, let's say you are working at a company right now or in a job that you don't necessarily love, and maybe that's putting it nicely, one of the things that Mark talks about is you're getting paid to learn. So how can you leverage the situation now to help be a benefit for your future? You know, what can be done now because you are getting paid to learn. So maximize that as much as possible as you are making your plans for the future. A lot of people have asked me, how did you get Mark Cuban on your podcast? Or how do you know Mark Cuban? And the truth is it was a moment of getting pretty uncomfortable one day. And I had no idea I would meet Mark that day, but there was an event in Phoenix, Arizona during the NBA All-Star weekend. And I was working for the Phoenix Suns at the time. And during the All-Star weekend, there was something called the Tech Summit. And in my opinion, it was bigger than the actual game and all the events that surround that weekend. The Tech Summit is where, at the time, Commissioner David Stern, who sadly we just lost, but David Stern would put on this event and invite the biggest brands, the most innovative thinkers, and progressive just renegades to talk about the future of tech. And I knew that was my future. That was the path that I was headed and I wanted to continue to go down. So I wanted to go to this tech summit, but there was no chance I was going to go. I'm a 20-something-year-old, very fairly junior person that had no credentials to be there according to the powers that be. So I offered to, I volunteered to work, and it was at the Arizona Biltmore. And here I am behind the desk handing out, the badges and the gift bags. And it was that day that I actually met Mark. I tried to sneak in with him and see the content and did not get in. I got stopped, kind of the who are you type of situation. So then I went into the green room and I just listened. And it was that same day that I also met Baron Davis, who is an incredible basketball player. He was playing at the time. He's now retired. He became a friend and he became an investor in my company as well. It's one of those things where getting uncomfortable is the only way to get things that you don't have in some situations. So those relationships or access to the content or whatever it is, the things that you don't currently have usually take doing something that you haven't done before. And for me, that was volunteering and starting conversations and being fairly nervous in doing that. We're pulling this one out of the archives. This is the very first Why Not Now podcast episode, and it's one of my favorites. Here's Mark Cuban. Being able to design my own day and do it in the most efficient way is a non-negotiable for me. I'm a bit of a time management nerd, so when I find something that allows me to be more efficient and effective to get the most out of my day, I want to share it with everyone. So here's the scoop. I have a new tool in my productivity tool belt, and it's called Monday.com. My team and I have never felt more organized professionally and personally. And my to-do list is no longer the boss of me. I feel more in control because every project, initiative, date, and task is captured and organized in one place. And my team is in the loop and involved every step of the way. We are in lockstep. Monday.com is like having a brand new operating system. Everything has its own home, deadline. You can see the team members associated with the tasks, and it's color coordinated, so you can easily navigate your own task list. We all have multifaceted jobs, businesses, and lives. With Monday, you're able to keep all of these components organized in their own compartments, but you're also one click away from seeing the big picture and how they all integrate together. Creating systems and procedures within your day and business saves a lot of time. For example, my team and I have a dedicated Monday.com board for this very podcast. Did you know that there are 28 steps involved in getting one podcast ready for air? It's the same exact process every single time. And it's a system that we have put into place. So we know the various key steps are assigned to certain people, and we've mapped out the entire process from start to finish within this one board. This allows us to be streamlined. It cuts back on the amount of emails exchanged as well as the amount of meetings needed. One feature I love is that my social media content calendar is built inside of Monday.com. I finally have one that I actually use, I like, and it's embedded into my overall calendar as well. Another feature we use every single day is the Google Doc integration. You know I love a good spreadsheet. I can pull them into Monday.com and edit them right there versus having 97 tabs open on my computer, which is extremely distracting and inefficient. If how we spend our days is how we spend our lives, then I can't think of anything more important than using the time in our days wisely. Head to hey.monday.com/Amy Jo Martin to start your free trial today. That's hey.monday.com/Amy Jo Martin. Welcome to the show, Mark. I hear you're in Vegas sitting by the pool.
Absolutely. What better place to be? I'm here for MBA meetings.
So let's get straight to our first why not now question. The goal with this is to help listeners and encourage listeners to ask themselves why not now and apply that question to their own lives. So can you share a time or think of a time when you had a big decision to make and you said to yourself, why not now?
Yeah, absolutely. It's when I got fired from one of my first jobs. I was working in Dallas as a software salesperson, and one of my responsibilities, it was a retail software store, was to come in and sweep the floor, wipe down the windows, and open the store. And I closed a big deal, and the customer wanted to wanted me to come pick up the check. And I checked with my boss. He was like, no, you need to open up the store. I'm like, that's crazy. So I defied him, figuring that when I handed him a $15,000 check, which was a $1,500 commission for me, he'd come around and say, okay, you did the right thing. Nope, fired me on the spot. Obviously didn't give him the check. I took it back. But then it was the decision, do I get another job or do I, take that customer and another customer and go start off on my own? And why not now? So I started on my own and the rest is history.
And when you were making that decision, what was going through your mind? I mean, you not only made the decision to go pick up the check, but then also, take your own path.
Yeah, I mean, look, I was broke as a joke, man. It was like, I couldn't get any poorer. So, I was living 6 guys in a 3-bedroom apartment, sleeping on the floor. And, so it was like I had nothing to lose. So why not now? And so that really was my logic. It was like, I just got to go for it because I'm not a very good employee. I don't want to look for another job. I think I could do this. And so why not now?
And has that shifted over the years, over time?
Yeah, I'm not quite as broke.
Yeah, well, of course you're not as broke, but with the nothing to lose, I'd say you might have.
Yeah, it's a little bit different now, obviously, but it went from nothing to lose financially or personally, that type of stuff, to I've got stuff to lose, but my attitude now is if I'm prepared, if I did all the work, when I walk in the room, if I know my business and the industry better than anybody else in the room, why not now, right? Why not go for it? It's now more a matter of preparation rather than lack of anything to lose.
I love it. Actually, I was thinking about the first time we met, and although you probably don't remember it, and I use the word met loosely here, it was through the NBA. It was All-Star Weekend in Phoenix, 2009, and I was working for the Phoenix Suns at the time and helping Shaquille O'Neal kind of on the side with his social media while I was working in the front office. And my opinion, the All-Star Weekend, the biggest event during the weekend is the Tech Summit, right?
Yep.
And Commissioner David Stern and the league office was hosting the summit, and I couldn't get in because I was too junior. So I said, well, geez, I need to sneak in. I need to find a way. And I volunteered to hand out the badges at the front desk. And sure enough, that was kind of my way of trying to get in and hear the content because this is like the most coveted
It's really
event.
good. Yeah, it's a really good event.
You come rolling up late. The producers are all worried because you were on stage, you were speaking or on a panel.
On a panel, yeah.
And I think you might have had a big night that night before in Scottsdale or something.
No, that never happens. That never happens.
Like you were like literally walking up and I'm handing you your badge and I tried to sneak in with you. It didn't work. So I got stuck in the green room and I just listened to everything that was said. And it was a big why not now moment for me because I had been thinking about starting my own company. I ended up leaving the league and doing that and even emailed you a few weeks later and you responded within minutes and I just can't thank you enough.
Well, of course.
It was pretty cool.
Why won't I?
Well, and that was actually the day I met Baron Davis, who ended up investing in my company years later. So I guess it's a good thing I snuck in as much as possible.
See, you never know how it turns out.
Exactly. Got it. And with all of the journeys you've taken and the people you've met, the toys that you have, and what moment stands out the most to you in your life so far?
All of them. I mean, other than personal things like kids and stuff like that, getting fired, selling my first company, or even before selling my first company, being profitable the first month and realizing I had something I could do, being able to overcome the fear that I was going to go out of business and keep on pushing forward and dealing with all the things that come along with growing a business from just me to 80 people and 30 million in revenues and selling it. And then, I don't know, it's a journey, and it's never a straight line. And I've always just tried to make sure that I enjoy it and that, I bust my ass trying to stay ahead. And I guess the other key is I've always loved what I've done. I was happy when I was poor. I was having a blast when I was poor. Now I'm just a little bit happier and having a little bit more of a blast.
There you go. So changing gears to the topic of time for a moment. The simplification of life is going to continue, and tech helps us create that path of least resistance to accomplish things. And I've heard you say we're reaching a point where everyone is in the business of selling their time.
Right.
You seem to have a very unique view on time and how you spend your time. and you've said you viewed your first few jobs as kind of getting paid to learn experiences. And you have this knowledge advantage theory. I've heard that you read up to 3 hours a day. Is that true?
Oh, yeah, at least. Absolutely. Absolutely. Like now the book in front of me is called The Master Algorithm, How the Quest for the Ultimate Learning Machine Will Remake Our World. Because I need to know, how important machine learning is going to be, how it's going to happen, and how it's going to change what we do. How algorithms that learn and create new algorithms are going to automate automation. And so that's going to impact, all thought processes, maybe not this year, maybe not 5 years, but within 10 years. And so, it all goes to the heart of how much can I learn and how can I get smarter and give myself an advantage.
Love it. And that actually gets into quite a few questions that I have in a minute or two. But when it comes to reading, have you ever taken a speed reading class or anything like that?
I thought about the old school Evelyn Wood, but now, I'm not a good reader necessarily. It's not like I'm trying to, I'm not trying to set a record for how many books I read or things that I do, stuff like that. It's just sometimes I can rush through a book and I might not finish it because I think I got all I need out of it. Other times, it'll take me a long time, and other times, it's an overnight read and I stay up till I'm done. It just depends on the book and what I think I need to get out of it. I'm more reading to what can I learn and how does that fit in, the big picture for me.
And is it mainly books versus articles?
No, I do both. More often I'm reading something on the web, or I'm reading an article, or I'm reading a blog, or listening to something, and they mention a book that they thought was interesting or informative, and then I'll click through to it, read the review, and if I think it's something that will help me, I'll buy it and read it. The way I look at it, the marginal cost for a book is nothing compared to the value of what it can bring me if it really helps me add value.
And how do you keep your mind healthy, given how busy you are?
I drink like a fish, 20 shots of vodka a day. No, I work out a lot. I mean, you've got to be healthy. I try to stay fresh. I try to get some sleep. I actually just started tracking my sleep, trying to figure out, okay, am I getting 6 hours, 7 hours, 5 hours? I thought I always slept 8 hours, but closer to 5.5 is what the numbers say. But if you don't feel good, you feel cranky and you don't want to dig in and do the things you need to do. So I try to spend time, doing cardio, 5-6 times a week, if not 7, and trying to stay ahead of the curve fitness-wise.
And do you meditate?
No.
Nope.
No, I'm not that guy. But I do appreciate. But I always make a point. If it's a sunny day like today, or I see a blue sky, just to look up, take a deep breath, or if I'm feeling stressed, I remind myself, what the hell do I have to be stressed about? As long as my family's healthy, I mean, everything else is second fiddle. And so, just to pull myself back and take a deep breath and just, experience the moment and not stress about it.
That's great. And I've read about some of these companies who are now paying their employees to get their 8 hours and tracking their sleep. And it's obviously becoming a much bigger deal in the corporate world because they're seeing the return financially. Right. And another question. So some of my biggest wins have been because I've made things happen just due to sheer force of will. And some of my steepest lessons have also been because I've forced things to happen versus letting them happen. So you are very well aware of your capabilities and you can make a lot of things happen. How do you decide when to let things happen versus make them happen?
Well, I try to know what I know and know what I don't know. And when I don't know, I let them happen. And when I do know, I make them happen. And when I'm not sure, it just depends on the circumstances. Then I do a risk reward analysis and say, okay, is it worth it or not? I mean, sports is, in basketball, it's all risk reward and, analysis because there's no certainty whatsoever. And so that's why you see me scream so much at games.
And that's been another question that has come in is about some of the fines, which I get a big kick out of how you approach your fines. But one last question on the time management front. I guess two. One, you are the quickest to respond on email, on Cyberdust. It's lightning fast. I can't even get interns to respond that quickly. Given how busy you are, how do you manage communication like that, or just your
I don't
time?
do phone calls. I don't do phone calls, and I don't do meetings unless I'm getting paid to do the meeting. If someone's writing me a check, where I have no choice. So the number of calls I'll do in a day is typically 0. The number of meetings I'll do in a day is typically 0. And so so that pushes everything to email or cyber dust or texting. And so that's how I'm monitoring everything that's going on in my life. And so that's why I can respond so quickly.
Interesting. That's very fascinating. Okay, switching gears. By 2029, it's believed that artificial intelligence will reach human level intelligence. The machine learning, VR, AI, that train has already clearly left the station.
But there's no way that AI is going to be AI by 2029. No chance, right? And there's a question. AI is trying to replicate human interaction. That's not going to happen. But at the same time, things will be a lot more algorithm driven. The first step will be automating automation, and things like, can you replace software programmers with algorithms that generate code? And those will be the first steps, and we're a long way from true AI.
Do you think Ray Kurzweil is a little off in that?
Yeah, I mean, he wrote it, to his credit. He wrote it 20 years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
So singularity is interesting.
Yeah.
But trying to understand your own data and what that means is important. Like, I got crucified. I tweeted a little while ago that I get my blood tested every 3 to 6 months because I want a baseline for my own health. There's no reason for my blood work when I'm sick to be compared to, a white guy my age and think that's going to give me any guidance or any incremental knowledge to help me with my health. And so I started tracking my own health. And when I said that, doctors just destroyed me because they said that, if you only do it once, it'll create false positives. But I was like, no, you do it all the time. So there are no false positives. Well, we can't afford to do it for everybody. And I was like, I didn't say do it for everybody. Not everybody can afford it. And so you have this push-pull between what's best for the general population in terms of singularity and what individuals can do for themselves and the cost. And so I think the cost is going to make it prohibitive for what Ray wants to happen. But technically, we're going to be getting a lot closer over the next 15 to 20 years, without question.
When it comes to the systems and laws in place or that aren't in place to, protect humanity, yet also encourage the amazing benefits of technology that technology can provide, do you think there's a little bit of irresponsibility going on with us looking at that?
No, because it's too soon. We don't really understand what's going to happen. I mean, look, there's 5-6 different ways to do machine learning, at least, and which one you choose impacts what type of laws you create to try to manage it. There's so many, with editing genes, there's so many different ethical discussions to be had, and in terms of technology and its impact on life, ethics, biology, evolution. I mean, it's so far beyond what we're all capable of doing and understanding that it's too soon to do it. Because if you do it now and people really don't understand, there's just going to be fear, and they're just going to say no to everything. And so it's too early to really even begin to try to fight that battle.
We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. I'm hopping in here to tell you about a new discovery of mine. I'm in love, and let me tell you, I've fallen hard. We all like our caffeine in the morning. I look forward to that first, second, and fifth cup of coffee in the morning, but now I exclusively drink super coffee. I'm such a fan that I actually invested in the company, the team, and their culture. The love for what I do every day makes me jump out of bed in the morning, but super coffee truly fuels that fire. It's fueled with positive energy, from the ingredients they use to their brand promise. Super coffee removes the negatives like sugar and adds the positives like MCT oil and protein so that you can maximize your day. I have an embarrassing secret. I used to be addicted to diet soda. I'd roll out of bed and pop open a can before my eyes were even fully open. I had never been a huge coffee drinker, but when I gave up diet soda on July 12th, 2015, yes, the moment deserves an anniversary. It was a big deal. I needed another caffeine source at that point. For me, that meant coffee with lots of artificial sweeteners, with crazy ingredients I can't pronounce that made me crash by 2 p.m. or so. Well, not anymore. Super coffee is different. As I mentioned, there's no added sugar, and some of the flavors I love have 10 grams of plant protein. Now, I'm not a big meat eater, so this really helps, and they've just added a few new flavors to their plant-based offering like French vanilla and sweet cream. They only use ingredients that are great tasting, great for you, and sustain you for the long haul. Nothing shady, only positives. The taste is delish, I can tell you. Take it from someone who needs that extra flavor to enjoy the taste of coffee. And Super Coffee also comes in ground coffee, Keurig pods, creamers, and more on their website, drinksupercoffee.com. One of the things my team and I love most is that on drinksupercoffee.com, you can shop Super Coffee's wide variety of products based on your dietary needs, including gluten-free, plant-based, Whole30, keto, or even vegan, right there on their website. There's something for everyone. While you're on the site, go ahead and stock up because Super Coffee is hooking up Why Not Now listeners with a 25% discount. Head to supercoffee.com and use the code Why Not Now for your 25% discount on all products. drinksupercoffee.com is the only place this offer is available, and your discount works again for all products. Just use Why Not Now as your code, all one word. There are no restrictions. I'm an investor in Super Coffee because the founders truly do walk the talk. Yes, their coffee provides positive energy, but so does their company culture. Their founders are three brothers who share a work hard and be nice to people mentality, and they spread that throughout their culture at Super Coffee. They know the importance of having diverse perspectives at the leadership level, and you know I'm a fan of elevating women in leadership. In fact, one of my Renegade Accelerator grads, Jamie Christ, is one of those women. So once that positive energy arrives on your doorstep, hit me up on social at Amy Jo Martin and show me what flavors and products you went with. And bonus points if you try one of their seasonal blends. The company is growing quickly, and you'll probably start noticing Super Coffee in your local Walmart, Target, or Costco. They are now in over 30,000 retailers nationwide. To take advantage of your exclusive 25% discount, head to drinksupercoffee.com and enter Why Not Now at checkout. That's Why Not Now, all one word. drinksupercoffee.com is the only place this offer is available, and your discount works for all products, no restrictions.
So here it is. It's 2016, and in 4 years, we'll celebrate the 100-year anniversary of the 19th Amendment, women's right to vote. Yet, it's incredible to me how far away we are on gender equality. How do we accelerate the pace toward gender equality?
On one side, I think you can't legislate stupidity, right? Stupid people are as stupid people do. On the other hand, I think, it really comes down to early education. Whether it's minorities, whether it's girls, whether it's underserved or underprivileged, whatever the people, we've got to get kids educated early because that's where they develop their habits. And once you get people educated, they won't see gender, they won't see color. They'll be a lot better informed. When people don't feel like, there's this old book I read way back when called Why Men Rebel. And basically what it said was when the reality falls far short of the expectations you had for your life or have for your life, that's when men rebel. And if you can, improve the ability for everybody to reach their expectations or come close, or at least have a chance in the beginning, then I think you'll see a lot less discrimination, regardless of whether it's gender or otherwise. Until then, people who think that there's something wrong with their lives aren't going to give a shit about anybody else, and they're going to do not everything, but do things that, try to pull people down as opposed to respect them. And so, to me, that's the fundamental problem. There aren't any easy answers, but, stupid people don't make those types of decisions.
And with pay equality, Elon Musk
I said it right. Smart people don't make those kind of decisions.
And we can't legislate stupidity, right?
Right.
So Elon Musk recently said he would take a look at the salaries at SpaceX and review them to see if there needs to be some adjustments. Salesforce just spent, I think, $3 million to close their gap. Have you ever done anything like this, or do you encourage your companies to take a look at salaries?
No. I mean, I do a lot of the hiring, and I just hire everybody pretty much the same. Mm-hmm. So I haven't felt the need, but it's a good question. I'm not ready to go spend the money on it, and I guess shame on me to a certain extent for not doing it. But at this point, I'll just trust the process because, I don't see color. I see green. I see opportunity, and I go out there and try to find the very best people that I can to help us get there. And if you don't pay them what they're worth, you're not going to get your money's worth, and they're going to go someplace else. You're not going to keep your best people.
Yeah. I was talking to a fund manager the other day, and he said when he hears of these women's only funds or just funding female entrepreneurs, he automatically thinks, well, it's a charity because gender shouldn't matter and good ideas are good ideas. And
right.
I think there's just a lot of confusion of what is going to help more female entrepreneurs get funded and start to shift those stats.
Look, I'm pretty sure more than half of my Shark Tank deals that have closed are women-run businesses.
Oh, yeah. And Shark Tank does a great job at balancing. I mean, it's I think, if anything, helping so much expose there are a lot of amazing female entrepreneurs.
Oh, yeah. Look, it's not gender specific at all. And to your point, the VC was right in that good ideas and good entrepreneurs, are gender irrelevant, color irrelevant, but the people who make the decisions on them aren't. And so that's why, I'll try to go out of my way to support female-run businesses, not because it's charity, but because, there's still different skill sets in a lot of respects. Women, some women, I don't want to generalize, a lot of women make decisions differently than men. And a lot of times they're better decision makers. And so I look for that.
And some research that even shows the bottom line can be more profitable if there are more women on boards and in leadership positions. But I think that we're lacking a lot of that research. But
no, you know what? And, it plays out in the end. When the markets are efficient, that works its way out. But, not all markets are efficient.
And about Shark Tank real quick. So been watching for a long time, and it seems that you wait to go last on your offers. And is that pure negotiating strategy, or do the producers ask you to do that?
No. Producers, I don't listen to what the producers say anyway. It's negotiating in some respects, and it's the ability to take in all the information, maximize the amount of information I can take in. Because every now and then the other sharks ask a good question or make a good point. And so I really just wanted to capture as much information to help me in my decision-making process.
And when it comes to negotiating, what do you have a number one tip other than work hard and knock on a lot of doors?
I try to be fair.
Yeah.
I try to be fair because, going way back when, it was like, I plan on being in business for a long, long time. And when you do fair deals, where both parties weren't quite 100% happy, but they feel good about what's happened, then, you tend to do more business over time and you tend to have better networking connections. And particularly now, right? Back in the day, people worked at companies forever and they had careers there. Now everybody's a free agent. And so if you're not fair in your negotiating tactics, if you're not nice, the value of nice is way undervalued right now. Whether it's negotiating, whether it's treating people, whether it's treating customers, nice is one of the most valuable assets that any company or individual has. And in a world, particularly for millennials, where you're going to be a free agent every couple of years, then when people think you're nice and they like working with you, your value proposition goes through the roof, and there's so much more you can accomplish. So, I'd modify anybody's negotiating right now to always include nice.
That's a great segue. I was going to ask you, so, we see more hatred and anger online. It's increased. It's at an all-time high. We see internet trolls are multiplying. And I've been studying the science of serotonin a little bit more and how we can potentially scale it, spread it online because there are no geographic barriers and we're only bound by the speed of technology. So I just conducted some clinical research to understand if people's behavior in the real world shifts when they're exposed to people doing good deeds online. And I haven't formally published this yet, but it turns out it does. And
Yeah,
that's
of course,
very
that
powerful.
makes perfect sense. Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
How do you think we can shift the negative energy and the negative content to more positive online?
It's hard. It's hard to do because while there's positive out there, people tend to look for things that they're mad about. You accept the things. It's like my business. In my businesses, I always ask for bad news first so I can get it out of the way. And when people are mad about things, that's when they tend to go online and look for solutions, or when they're sick or whatever. And then for the trolls, their whole mission is just to troll people. And look, I've been guilty of it too. I've loved to troll Donald Trump and some other folks just because it's fun. But in terms of how do you bring more positive experiences online, I think Snapchat's done a good job of that. I don't know about you, but I haven't really been trolled on Snapchat. It's not easy to troll people on Snapchat. Mm-hmm. I just think Twitter, and Facebook even now too, it's just so easy to troll that we lose sight of the positives. But I think to a certain extent, Snapchat's changing that. Lively and Musically are definitely changing that. And so there are social networks that enhance the positive. And so I think we'll get there. I don't know that you need special programs. I think technology's taken us there. With Pokemon Go. I mean,
have you tried it?
Oh yeah, hell yeah, I did.
You doing it in Vegas at the pool right now?
No, not yet. I'm about to, but I don't want to just be staring at the screen and walk into the water.
Yeah, that can be dangerous too, by the way. I've seen
some
reports of that. But
yep.
That's an interesting look at it. And I love your comment about the value of nice. Coming from you, I think more people need to hear that. But as we shift gears for a moment on sports, when you're about to do something and you're going to get fined from the NBA for doing it, and you think through that behavior, do you actually think through and estimate what the fine will be before you do it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I never get fined without knowing I'm going to get fined first.
But do you think through the number?
Oh, yeah, the cost-benefit analysis?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Totally.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
And you've even premeditated your charity matching.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Right. And, to me, it's usually about things I think impact the integrity of the NBA or impact what I see as hypocrisy in the NBA. So that dictates kind of what I do. And, it's interesting because I don't get fined nearly as much, so I have to work harder at it when I do want to get fined. Because now a lot of things I used to be mad about, they've changed. And part two to that is people are used to me.
It's
and
the Mark Cuban filter.
Yeah. And part three is they know if they find me, it just gives me a huge platform to talk about it for a couple weeks, and they don't like that.
Oh, this is hilarious for Adam Silver.
It's all game theory.
Given you're in Vegas right now, I lived in downtown Vegas for a couple of years, and it was part of that downtown project, helped Bill Foley with his campaign to get NHL to Vegas. And are we going to see other pro sports in Vegas and an NBA team maybe?
Not an NBA team for a while, just because the finances for NBA is that, media drives a lot of our shared revenue. And if you just add one more team, regardless of the franchise fee, you have to split that up one more way. And that the net effect of the franchise fee is it's just an advance or a loan. And the NHL doesn't get as much money from media rights, so it made a lot of sense for them. The NFL adding LA, that increased the value of their media rights, so it made sense to them. Baseball, I don't know. Baseball has other issues.
Yeah. And I guess your same answer then, would that apply for Pittsburgh? Because a lot of people know your roots in Pittsburgh.
Absolutely. Okay, I love Pittsburgh, but I don't see it happening.
Well, last why not now question. So I like to kind of bookend the show with a future why not now. So is there something you've been considering doing that you haven't done? Maybe it's time to get your why not now on, something that maybe people aren't very familiar with?
Yeah, I got to go take Pilates. I got to improve my core. And so I keep on saying, why not now? I got to really work on my core. Seriously.
So you're serious about this one, right? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I took one Pilates class last year, and I was sore for a week because I never did it again. And so I keep on saying, I got to do it because I got to work on my core, and all I've been doing is cardio. So yeah, that's my why not now right now. So the world is going to change when Mark starts Pilates.
So every Pilates instructor in Dallas is going to be tweeting you and...
That's fine. I'm good with that. Okay. I'm good with that.
Anything business-wise?
No, I mean, why not now, I guess, is I mentioned I'm reading the book on the master algorithm. Mm-hmm. And I definitely want to start getting into understanding and learning how to use different machine learning libraries and databases and different data inputs, so I can have a better understanding, so that when I walk into a room, I'm at least competent, and then hopefully at some point I can, be the guy who knows more.
And as it relates to Twitter, if you were the CEO today, what would be the first change you'd make at Twitter?
What I learned from Cyberdust, right? In Cyberdust, there's no trolls because nobody sees your response except for the person that you message. And so in Twitter, I would make an option of responses, not the tweet itself, but just put a button there that says responses public or private. And that way, if I'm worried about trolls, if I just set the responses to private and only I can see them, all trolls go away.
That's interesting, actually. And what keeps you up at night? Anything?
My kids' health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
the Mavs.
The Mavs. And final question here. What advice would you give to your younger self?
I hate that question. I always hate that question.
Why?
I just think in my case, no, it's not that. In my case, my only advice would be don't change a fucking thing.
Just so there's no advice that you're holding out on to give your
maybe
kids?
Don't drink as much. Don't drink as much. But no, because it worked out. Look, I love my life. I say it all the time. I'm probably the luckiest guy in the world, and knock on wood, that doesn't change. But it's just, I wouldn't change a thing. The good, the bad, the ugly. It all, all things I learned from, and all gave me the chance to say, why not now?
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for your time, Mark. I appreciate it.
My pleasure, Amy. I really appreciate it. Congrats on the podcast.
Thanks. Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Gotta leave it to Mark Cuban for recording poolside in Vegas on my first podcast. Hey everyone, thanks for listening to the show. Hit me up on social media to let me know what you think. I'm at Amy Jo Martin on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And I want to hear your Why Not Now moments so I can share them on the show. Just send me a note to whynotnow@amyjomartin.com. For show notes and other offers, you can visit amyjomartin.com/whynotnow. And while you're there, don't forget to sign up for my email newsletter for exclusive content and announcements. A big thanks to Rock Salt Music for all of the tunes by the talented John Coggins. And of course, a hat tip to Richard Brewer for editing and producing the show. I'll see you next time, and until then, why not now?